if I'm going to be a performer, that's the lifestyle that I'm going to be living. Since my goal ultimately, and it really was, to make people laugh, to make the world laugh, I can do it much better by sending my work out, my innovations out to other performers who are then making the world laugh, and we can really cover the world, and we really have.
Welcome back to Puppeteers. We're your hosts, Adam Kreutinger
and Cameron Garrity.
And today we have Steve Axtell on the show. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Hey, how are you guys?
We're doing great.
Very good. Well, Steve is the owner and operator of Axtell Expressions. He has a really legendary studio that creates all sorts of puppets and scripts and music recordings and tracks and all sorts of resources and assets for puppeteers to use. If you don't know his work, you've definitely seen his work, and we're so excited to have him here on the show. Steve Axtell, welcome to Puppeteers.
Well, thank you very much. It makes me so sad to be welcomed to Puppeteers.
So we like to start off with what you're working on now. Is there any cool projects that you can talk about right now?
Oh, yeah, we've got a lot of really cool stuff. The company is divided into a couple sections. One is puppet building, and the other is animatronic building. And so we have projects going on in both departments right now that are hot, good things. And we have some regular customers that continually order, and we have custom things that are one of a kind, a lot of that kind of stuff. So
your shop, you're in LA?
We're an hour north of Hollywood, so okay. We're in Ventura, California. Yeah, so you're welcome anytime you want to come.
Oh, I go out there all the time. My family lives there, so I'll definitely stop by next time I'm in town.
Oh, wonderful.
So how long have you been in this space, this complex that we're in right now?
Oh, yeah. I started out in my house, of course, and since 1982 until 1990, I was in my house. We've been in this building since 1990, and we've been adding to unit by unit as we've been growing. So we started out with one, and then went to, now we're up to 5 different units.
Your shop is as old as Cameron.
Yeah.
Well, let's take it back a little bit more for you as well. We want to, so I imagine you started off as a performer in some sense and started making your own puppets and turned into business. Is that kind of the origin of Axtell Expressions?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started very young. I saw Kukla, Fren, and Ollie on black and white television as a kid. Black and white was before color, guys. I know, it's hard to imagine. And when I had that experience seeing Kukla, Fren, and Ollie on stage on television, but in stage, it was something that lit my fire, and I knew I had to make puppets. So I started out, this is my first puppet. When I was 6 years old, my mom helped me make that little guy. And she taught me how to sew when I was 6. And then as I grew up, I began doing puppet shows and as I saw people being able to do it on television. But they were always in a proscenium or through a window of the puppet stage, and yet it was on television. And it wasn't until I saw Sesame Street for the first time, blew my mind, and I saw them walking around as actors. And that was one of the great innovations Jim Henson brought to television, of course. And so Sesame Street was my influence at that point. This is, of course, Jim and Kermit here. But when I saw that, my mind was blown. I knew what I wanted to do as an adult, and I was probably 14. So immediately I began making Muppets. And I have here a picture of me with my Kermit, my Ernie, and Oscar at age 14. I don't know if is that glaring? I can't see what you're seeing right now, but is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we could see it for sure.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So my mom sent that article, it was in the newspaper, and she sent it to Jim Henson, and I got a letter back from them. and it said, Steve, you have a lot of talent, grow up and learn about the Puppeteers of America, and he introduced me to some people to join up with. I was in Ohio at the time, and my mom was hoping, I'd get a job with them, because what else am I going to do when I grow up, right? I was obsessed with puppets, and so they ended up directing me to make sure you don't copy what we're doing, find your own look, and that really stuck. And so I dropped everything I was doing that was a Kermit, Oscar, Ernie, and began making all my own stuff. And here I am about 20 years old in this with my own characters, and that kind of started it. I was performing on the weekends, working in psychology, but using puppets in my work in psychology as well, but performing all through high school and everything on the weekends as a magician, and did some puppetry in a puppet stage. I was not a ventriloquist at the time. Eventually I became a ventriloquist, but people started buying my puppets. And so as I was building puppets and stuff, I just really started the business, and Axtell Expressions grew out of that. And I just kept it in the back of my mind that Henson was the inspiration, and never to copy them. And that's been my goal my whole career. And a couple of years ago, I got a call from Lewis Mitchell, who you had on your podcast. Here's a picture of Lewis. And Lewis said, Mr. Axtell, I want to introduce ourselves to you. I'm Lewis Mitchell from Sesame Street, and we are inspired by you. And I go, what? I can't even believe this. I go, you're inspired by me. You know my story, right? And he goes, oh yeah, we know your story. We know everything about you. And we watch your videos on YouTube, and you got like 700. Got about 700 videos on YouTube, and it's crazy. But anyway, they sent me a poster that all of them signed, and it's one of my prizes. There's I don't know if you can see it, but there's Carol Spinney there, and we got all the Muppeteers that were there at the time when he was getting it all signed. Maria, yeah, it's really cool.
That's
so
amazing.
That was came full circle. Really, really sweet story. I love that. This is a research and development area, and we have kind of a little showcase area too. We've got a bunch of the presidents here. Shaq's not a president yet.
Not yet. Yeah,
he's in the lineup.
Wow, those are great.
And the style changes over the years. Back in the Reagan years, things were pretty rough, but I love it. I love the fact that it's raw. We got a lot of these are the birds. Maybe you guys remember these. They were in Toys R Us. We had a line of characters in Toys R Us.
Really?
And they were also on the PBS show Jack Huston's Imagineland, which I've got those puppets. We did about 40 episodes of that,
Yeah.
and it's still showing on PBS in the southern states up here on this roof up here.
Wow.
These characters are from Imagineland. So it was a Jack Huston's Imagineland. Jack is a country western singer, and he was the ranch hand, and all these animals were part of his menagerie on the show. Incredible show, really great. Had a lot of good heart. It was a southern show. So I'd fly to Dallas, Texas, and Plano, Texas, and we'd shoot it there. And let's see. I want to show you some animatronic stuff too in the motions. But this is our Veggietales collection.
How did he get involved with them?
Those are. So it was back in 91. I contacted Veggietales. I had seen some of the videos that they were doing, and it was all in CG. And I asked them if I could get a puppet license so that people could perform Veggietales with puppets. And Phil Vischer jumped all over it, said, oh, yeah, let's do that. So we did that, and for about 3 or 4 years, till up to about 93, 94, we sold, tens of
Can only
thousands of them.
Yeah.
It was incredible. So they're around, and we'll find those built in latex.
Wow.
We had those made in Mexico for us, so I went there and did. The birds were built in China for us in vinyl, and I went there for those factories, and then went to Mexico to do the Veggietales.
Yeah, I want to go back a little bit again, too, because when you were talking about how you were a performer, and that was kind of your focus at first, and then people started slowly buying your puppets from you, at what point, I imagine there was a point where you're like, okay, I'm going to kind of hang up my performance career a little bit and focus on this aspect.
Right, yeah. That's a really good point. So what I found was that a lot of my customers who were pros, and I said, if I'm going to go pro, this was as we were beginning to think about having children. I was talking to my wife about it. If I'm going to go pro, I'm going to be on cruise ships, or I'm going to be in Vegas or on television. It's going to be a brutal, schedule, and we wanted to, create more of a family life than that. And I wasn't driven so much to be a performer as I was, the building really excited me. So we kind of focused on, well, what if we start the business? And she had a home ec degree. She had gone to Cal Poly up in San Luis Obispo, California. And I was working at Atascadero State Hospital full-time at the time. And we said, why don't we start the business? And this was because if I'm going to be a performer, that's the lifestyle that I'm going to be living. So if I'm going to be making it, I could stay home. And then, since my goal ultimately, and it really was, to make people laugh, to make the world laugh, I can do it much better by sending my work out, my innovations out to other performers who are then making the world laugh, and we can really cover the world. And we really have. We're in 80 countries that we know of. On stages all over the world. And so that was the decision. And we did that around the time that my son was born. And he's actually now my vice president. Pretty exciting. He's over here working on a studio project. So this is our studio now. We have a blue screen studio and a black screen studio. And here's Ryan.
Hey, how's it going, Ryan?
Hey, guys.
What I love about this as well, though, because you still have, you can tell just by talking to you and seeing you in your videos that you are a performer, and I feel like you bring that a lot to everything that you do. And one thing that we always talk about is puppet builders that are also have a performing background makes you a better puppet builder because you know what the needs are.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, we were just handling. Terry's Trump today because we're getting ready to ship it out, and that was exactly, I was watching him handle it on video in his Vegas show, and I said, okay, we've got to make sure, because this is a repair, we got to make sure that it handles the same way. So we were repositioning things exactly the way he was holding. So yeah, I mean, it absolutely gives you insights that a non-performer builder would not necessarily have.
And also like that you get to still kind of perform in a way through, because don't you do the performances for the X tracks? Is that you?
Yeah, I'm certainly a voice artist. I do all the harmonies on the chickens and all of that.
Yeah, I gotta just tell you this quick, because me myself, before I ever started puppetry, I was a magician, which is I found your site and stuff long before I ever did puppetry. And I bought one of your X tracks years and years ago, probably 20 years ago that I bought it. It was the "I'm So Hungry" track. That one.
I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. Could eat most anything.
Haunts my wife a little bit.
I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry.
I could eat most anything. Oh boy. And that was the one I used too. The Goofy track was my favorite one to use. Yeah. And and I was doing my magic shows, and I wanted to add a puppet to it. And again, it was the perfect resource, because if you try to get puppet, a decent puppet, custom made, we all know it costs thousands. It costs a lot of money, but you offer such an amazing product for people for such a reasonable price. They can get like the bird puppets that I was looking at back then. I think it was like $180, which is for the beautiful work that you guys do. It's a steal.
Thank you. Well, having a good team, not having to do it all myself, being able to delegate. I do a lot of the sculpture. 90% of it is my work. But then to not have to do the daily production on it makes it so that it can be more affordable. So although it takes a lot to keep a crew of 10 going, as you can imagine, it's still, we're able to get the price down to where maybe, and we also have the starter puppets for somebody that is really just starting out. They're like $80. We have those made overseas. Here's our animatronics department. Let me introduce you to Wes, who's building in here. Here's Wes.
Hey.
How's it going?
Hey, Wes.
Wesley is getting ready to do some vacuum forming.
Nice.
Yeah, that's for the Diva.
How
maker.
is that something we could watch? Is that close?
We don't have the plastic for that.
Not
This
yet?
one's going right now.
All right.
It's just about ready.
Oh, cool. Oh, this is interesting. It's clear. This is an eye. Can you see that? This is a small, we're going to make an eyelid. We're going to vacuum form an eyelid here.
Be like that.
Okay, how long? You think?
Maybe a minute or two.
Okay, we'll come back. Call me when you're ready for that. This is the animatronics department. And we've got, this is David Straussman's collection here. Oh. You can see that? Let's see. Some of the stuff that he's...
Oh, David Straussman. He does a lot of like big stage production, right?
and mostly in Australia.
Okay,
He's an American, but he performs in Australia as a ventriloquist. Is phenomenal.
Yeah, does he
and
did
we've
you make
had,
his alien puppet?
Here we are. We're ready for the whoop. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. So this will be a mechanical eyelid that will be painted, or is this the eyeball?
This is the lid.
That's the lid, okay. Mm-hmm. So we'll paint that and trim it out, and that's a dental vacuum former, and then we have the larger one here that can do things up to.
I'm
2
drooling
feet.
over that big one.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know, man. I'd like to take you on a little tour, show you around.
Oh sure.
We'd
That'd be
love that.
fun.
Yeah, that'd
Please.
be great.
Okay, so we'll head into the production department where the puppets are built
Oh,
first.
that's awesome. I think this is one of our first tours on the show.
I think so. Yeah,
fun.
We tried with Krupa, and he cut off because the Wi-Fi wasn't very good. So this is great.
Oh, okay. So we're here in, first of all, this is our lunchroom, and this is where we have a lot of posters up for our power users. When a customer has 10 or more of our puppets in their show, we call them a power user, and we have a lot of collectors. A whole bunch of these people here are power users, and I'll take you up close up on some of these. They're pretty amazing collections. Steve Petra,
Not
he's
yet.
been on your show,
we'll
hasn't
have
he?
to have him on.
He's not. No.
We'll have to have him on.
familiar with
Definitely put him on the list. Huge. A lot of really cool collections and people from all over the world
Wow, look at those.
that are using our stuff. And a lot of them come here, they make treks here to Axtell Expressions, and then they'll sign their poster in person. We have a conference usually in January. We're going to skip this year and see how it goes. It's called CAX. And Mark Daniel is part of Cadabra, and he's hosting that on a regular basis.
Oh, there's Sylvia
let
Fletcher.
me see if,
I met her. She's nice. Yeah, she's great. She's great, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Sylvia. Yeah, absolutely.
She came to Buffalo, did a show a couple years ago.
Here's some pictures with Terry Fator.
Yeah, I remember that project. Didn't you do a video for that whole project there? Of the whole making of that character?
Yes, the making of
Yeah.
Connie. Yeah, the making of Connie. And then we did, this is Jay Johnson with our Vulture. He won a Tony Award for the Two and Only.
Oh, wow.
Here's Jeff Dunham, Shaq. And Shaq's, I've got to show you the puppet we made of Shaq. He's performing still with it on videos.
Oh, cool.
He just did one last week.
Oh, geez, that's
Hilarious.
awesome. So is he a ventriloquist or puppeteer?
He's not a ventriloquist. He's doing his own puppetry.
Oh, really? Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty fun. In fact, one of the videos, maybe I can pull it up and show it to you. It's hilarious. He does this whole dissing rap
that'd be
thing
great.
to his competition, and then at the end of it, the puppet is just the puppet.
I think this is one of our
singing
first
and rapping.
tours on the show.
It's his voice.
Actually, I think I may have seen. Is it posted on your YouTube channel?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Maybe you've seen that one.
Yeah,
So he comes up at the end showing that he was the puppeteer. It's hilarious. So this is our production department right here. And we've got my crew with Jose Cruz over here. Jose is our production manager. He's airbrushing right now. This is Sandra. Sandra is airbrushing also. So we have a macaw here. She's using this as reference, and she'll be painting this one. There we go. Jose is painting some bird feet. A very simple project, but only Jose can do bird feet. Here's Rosie. Rosie is working on the same vulture that Jay Johnson has. His is Nether-Nor, he calls it, and Rosie is she's getting ready to assemble this. So she's doing the assembly after they've done the airbrushing and stuff. And right here is a famous character. Maybe you can see him. This is actually Terry Fator's Donald Trump. That's back for repair, one of them. So we're repairing this one, and that'll be going back to Terry for his Las Vegas show. So this is the production department right here.
How many employees do you have?
We have about
Fletcher.
10.
I met her.
And they're not all on today.
She's great. She's great.
Some are. We've got a couple of puppets here. We're going to be doing something with this fun fur hair for a chimpanzee that's going to be made for Vegas. It's really cool. It's going to be in an Elvis suit. It's a private project. I can't say any more about it, but it's going to be really cool. It's going to be a television character.
Wow.
Cool.
Here's Chella. Chella is buffing the latex. Hey, Chella.
Hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
So she's taking all the nubbies off that come out of the mold.
Yeah.
All the little nubbies, so that they get buffed off with a Dremel tool. And then we've got our fur department and fabrics. Lots of parts in production. This was a custom character we did for, we just shipped it. In fact, our customer in France just received that today as a caricature of a famous French Paris musician. And then, of course, more photographs. And going into this office here, this is Teresa Camarillo. And Teresa is our customer service
Hello.
liaison.
Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
We're
See
doing the
you.
Puppeteers podcast.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so Teresa does customer service and does all of our shipping and gets it all out. So if you ever order a puppet from us or a project from us, it's going to be shipped out by her in the shipping department. And of course, we've got all the boxes needed for your next order. Right here.
That's awesome.
And then we've got some projects. This is a TV character in Dubai that's animatronic that's getting ready to have a body put on it. She's a granny, and she's a famous character on TV. And we've got a lot of these people up here that have bought animatronics all over the world from us. And we do huge trees, and we've made some trees in several different sizes. We've got a little tree. This is our smallest one here.
Oh yeah. Are those from a TV show?
Little tree
TV
is
show, right?
Little tree. He's probably been used on television shows, but this is in our animatronics line, and he'll have tree foliage up here as well, and then moving arms. Yeah, Wes has got the foliage there that is going to be going on to it, and then we have a big tree, and then we have a really big tree. It's that face there, up here. That was made for Six Flags parks, and also for a theater in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, which brings me to my next point. That was the Black Bear Jamboree, a David Fee production. Pigeon Forge is near Dollywood in Tennessee, and a very big entertainment center, kind of a hillbilly Vegas. Let me close this door and I'll show you the chickens. Right, you have a song queued up? Yeah. So these chickens here are all animatronic, and they're part of a show that is in a restaurant in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and they have 62 of these. They say nearly 100, but 62 really.
Feels like 100.
I've seen ads over 100.
Maybe
as
they're
well.
laying eggs too.
But, yep, over 100 singing chickens. Anyway, so I'll show you one of the songs. It's only about 2 minutes long, so go for it.
That's great. I like the little ones in the little popping out of the pots. Yeah, that's funny.
Such a nice touch.
Yeah, those are pretty fun. Put those on a little teeter-totter mat.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
nice.
yeah.
That's how we raised those up with a rotational servo. And then this guy is animatronic, but we have a new feature that we just started. I'm working on, I've got patents filed for this, and it's artificial intelligence with animatronic characters. So you're able to go up to them and talk. Wow. And it's pretty fascinating.
My name is Max.
Oh, okay.
What's your name?
My name is Steve.
You know I don't really care, right?
He's great.
Wow.
How old are you?
Pretty old. You know, there's 3 ways to tell if you're getting old. One is a loss of memory.
Okay.
The second, I forget.
Hey, can you tell us a joke?
A joke? Oh, good grief. Okay, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Gus.
Gus who?
Gus, this is the end of your stupid joke.
Are you an artificial intelligent?
Intelligent, yes. Artificial, never.
Are you an animatronic?
Animal what?
Animatronic.
Oh, you whippersnappers with your big language and newfangled ideas. Get out of here.
Can we take your picture?
Well, since this is probably one of the last chances you'll see me alive, I guess it's okay.
All right.
Come on, get your camera out.
I got it right here.
That's a phone. Oh, whatever. Here we go. On the count of 3,
All right.
I want you to say ancient.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Ancient!
Now, go post that on your Facegram or Instabook or whatever you call that, and make sure you spell my name right. O-L-D.
Okay, we're going to take off now. See you later. Goodbye.
You're going to want to come back again and again. You know you are.
See you later, alligator.
After a while, crocodile. Now go back to your swamp.
That is phenomenal.
It is awesome.
Wow.
Holy cow.
That's exciting. Yeah, so those are going into theme parks and not just that guy, but that technology. And we're also doing it on digital characters.
Wow. You know, that's one thing that I thought was so interesting too, because for the longest time, I thought you only sold like these kind of mass-produced puppets. It wasn't until I saw that that YouTube video of you making that Hawaiian character for Terry Fator that I realized I didn't even know that you did custom work. So I guess maybe a question I have for you is like, just for the size of your business, how much of it is, what percentage of it would you say is custom versus produced things for people starting out puppetry?
I would say that probably 50% of the business is puppets for stage performers, and then that are not custom, that are just buying off the catalog line, and then maybe another 20% is custom work, and the rest of that is animatronics. Wow. So, and sometimes that takes over. Like when we did the chicken job, that was 2 years work, and that dominated. But it was an anomaly too. You know, you don't get 100 animatronics at one, well, almost 100 animatronics at one time.
Yeah. Holy cow. Wow.
Oh, custom. Did you guys know I did Madagascar?
Oh, you know, I did see that. Wow. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was great.
So this is, we made 3 sets, 1, 2, 3, and these were, it's poorly lit, sorry about that. We did them for DreamWorks, and they had 3 different sets of performers that did, so we had the United States with Chris Rock and all of these guys, Ben Stiller, and so they took a set, and then there was a group in Asia that took a set, and another group in Europe that took a set. And so Katzenberg sent those out to all of the teams, and then they used those on the red carpet opening of the movie, carrying their character and posing with.
So when you get a gig
stuff,
like that, did they send you a lot of assets as far as like 3D renders and stuff? And wow, okay, wow, holy cow.
Yeah, working off of 3D models and rotating them. I'm an animator, also working 3D animation. We've done some stuff with Derek Lux, obviously with the live virtual set that you talked about, and done some modeling. We're getting more and more into the CAD work, so we'll be doing, we have a lot of, now we're doing blinking eyes, and here's a double lid.
Is that printed?
That also is 3D printed, yes. And here's a single lid. Can't do this one-handed, but I'm going to pull this here and link the lid. There we go. That's made with a pull string. The other ones are made for servos to move. But we'll do 3D printing, a lot of really cool projects. And maybe I'm going to be sculpting characters in ZBrush too, so we might be doing some digital sculpting and printing out from that as well. I'm going to be experimenting with that this year for silicone puppets.
Wow. Yeah. Is that how most of your sculptures are done now? Okay, I think I saw you recently doing a hand sculpture.
No, we're still done by hand. Yeah, I want to do it just as I'm always pushing the boundaries, so I'm trying to do it in. I've done 3D modeling before, but not for a printed mold, which would then yield a silicone puppet. So we'd be sculpting it in 3D, printing it in reverse for negative molds, and then casting it in silicone for the positive puppet. So we'd be be doing that. So we work on a lot of clay sculpture and just finished several sculpts. One of them was, I just did a bust of my mentor, Tony Balone, who was the original sculptor of the Barbie doll. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see. This. Can you see that picture okay? So this is the original Barbie doll. This is Tony. This is his wife. When he worked with me, they're about, I think, 30 or 40 there. When he worked with me, he was an older man. He just died earlier this year. And that's me back when he was working in my Axe Television years. He worked with me. And he did some of the sculpture of some of my characters, maybe about 10 different characters that are really well known. I did a bust of him recently. That was one of the sculpts that I had. And cast this one, it wasn't a puppet. We cast this one in plaster and made a bronze out of him. But that's Tony when he was like 40-ish.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So still do a lot of clay sculpt.
Yeah.
Now, the Axtell puppets have such an iconic design. I mean, you could really tell when you're seeing someone who has an Axtell puppet, because it's just such a great, unique look that's so true to you. How much of that is because of how much of that was your design sensibility versus how much of it is kind of created because you need to create these puppets in bulk, so that you could have them replicated over and over again?
Oh yeah. No, in fact, it would be much easier to make them if they weren't so complex in terms of shape and undercuts and such. So no, it's nothing to do with production. The fact that we're using molds is, of course, a production decision, as opposed to laying out foam and cutting everything by hand. It's so laborious when you're. So for producing things in bulk, the rubbers I love. And I think what it was my original quest when I was seeking my own look, my own design look. We were on a trip to Disney World as a family, and I walked into the magic store, and on the back wall were all those Don Post masks. And it was just part of the magic store, and you could buy a mask of all these different characters and stuff. And I began to think, since I'm not going to make Muppets, I wonder if this would be a good medium to work in for puppets. So that was kind of the stimulus. But as far as the actual design look, I think that largely just grew out of what I have to do to make my own look to be unique. And there's and then after a while, you can't help it. They're always going to come out Axtell.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
One way or another, you just can't do it another way, unless I'm working off of someone's 3D models. Like I did for Madagascar. Obviously, those aren't Axtell.
Oh, of course. So you've
and we do a lot of that.
Oh, I bet. And then so you've also created some really cool sort of supplements to the traditional puppets. I think about the lips that you've made or different things like that. Where do those ideas come from? Is it from just trying to keep things fresh, or is it something that either someone in your shop or one of the performers that you work with asked for that? How do those ideas develop?
So I'm an inventor. So I have several patents, and I've got over 200 documented inventions in my notebooks that I'm working off of, and I've only made about 20 of them. So there's a lot of stuff still to come out. The magic drawing board was one of my big ones, and of course, Adam, you probably had one or knew somebody that did. And you could draw a face on it, and it animates. It is like a puppet of 1,000 faces, but it's pure magic because you can wipe it off and erase it. So that one has really been phenomenal. We've sold probably 100,000 of those. And then the bird arm illusion was my very first patent. Oh, I've got that. I've got the patent. I'll show it to you. The bird arm illusion is, you have a bird on your arm, and it looks like the bird is alive. This is kind of cool. So here's my first patent.
Yeah. And so anyway, the inventions are, I've always been inventive, and so not wanting to be just a purist, I'm not a purist of anything. Magic always morphed into puppets somehow. Puppets morph into animatronics. Animatronics morph into AI. A lot of things cross over, and I just love that about creativity, you know, cross-pollinating ideas, kind of what we do, and it's one of our strengths. So putting novelty into puppets, sprays that come out of the dragon's nostrils or the skunk's butt. We've got a lot of water that squirts out of our elephant. You know, things like that.
Yeah, I remember like the crying baby thing too, with the spinning head, and the one with your head is the baby's head.
Yeah,
and like Cam said, the microphone with the lips attached to it. You know, the face masks and all that cool stuff.
The mic mouth.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I've got I was going to have a mic mouth routine where we're getting ready for an auction. We're going to auction off or a garage sale. But speaking of that particular design, I've got a rig here where it's three
great.
mouths.
Oh my God.
And they'll all sing. If you wanted to have a tree, if it had to be pre-recorded, of course, but they could pop up and be your background
That is
singers.
hysterical. Oh my gosh.
It's funny. My my high school class just gave me an honor, and I got an award that I wasn't able to attend to, but the presenter had a mic mouth, and I didn't even realize that they were. So when they accepted the award, I just got the video yesterday. They accepted it with my mouth, and thanked Willard High School for the honor.
So the speech
Pretty
ended up
exciting.
coming from you anyway.
That's right. Yeah.
Right out of your lips.
That's what they said. Yeah.
That's really funny. Well, there's something I was going to ask. Did you have something?
I have another question too. I'm just gonna say this one word, and I just want to see. I want to see what you have to say about it. You ready?
Yeah.
Platypus.
Oh, that's a big word.
I was
in my
gonna say.
vocabulary, I'll tell you.
Tell us about that, because you know, for people who don't know, you have a platypus song. I imagine it's one of your Axe tracks, right?
Yeah.
But on YouTube, that video has over 4 million views on it. People like that platypus song.
Yeah, I'm a platypus.
Yeah. So the platypus is an interesting story. You want to do a little bit of the song for him?
Okay. I'm a platypus. I'm a platypus. And you'll notice I'm not doing ventriloquism with that.
For some strange reason. So when we were experiencing a very hard time in our business, it was about 2008 with the crash. Orders just stopped. We weren't getting orders. The whole world was going crazy with the crash, the bank crisis, and everybody was holding on to their money tight and stuff. And I was panicked because I was going to have to lay off some employees. And we said, what are we going to do? I said, guys, we've got resources around here. We got a lot of stuff in piles, that we aren't using. We can't buy any supplies right now. So what I'd like to do is to find stuff that we aren't selling or using in puppet builds and build something out of that. Let's see what we can invent. Let's see what we can do. And so we went scrambling, all the employees, and somebody brought me big round bolts of gray fur that we had. It was this actual fur. This is the original platypus, by the way. That's why it looks kind of beat up. He's not even finished, which is kind of funny. I left it unfinished because of this story. But we got this fur, and then we were looking around like, okay, what can we make? And we listed a ton of stuff that we could make with it: a rat, a wolf, a mouse, a whole bunch of stuff. And then I saw a duck head, Chuck the Duck, which is exactly this head. And it was sitting nearby unpainted. And I thought, oh, we could make a platypus. And so we put that together, and a platypus normally has brown fur and a gray beak and bill. And so we reversed those colors, like who's going to care? And it's a cartoon anyway. So we reversed it and made this little guy. Okay, so we have a platypus. Great, guys, great. We've got a platypus, and we can start selling those. Okay, who's going to buy a platypus? Of all characters, it's the least requested puppet of all time.
Great idea during a recession.
So I said, okay, we've got to have a reason to buy a platypus. And I said, okay, I got to write a song. So I called my producer, Greg Jackson, who was with me at the time. And he's still with us, but he's not in that position. He does stuff like with Derek and does orchestrative stuff. And I said, Greg, we've got to have a song. And so I'm going to write a song. It's going to be simple. Just bring in your keyboard. Let's just knock this thing out. And so I'm literally, I don't know what to do. So I got the little hook bit, and I'm in the shower and I'm going, platypus, 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 platypus. Okay, so I got my chorus. I'm a platypus. Now I got to have verses. So I jumped on YouTube to my group, and I said, okay, folks, I need descriptive adjectives for a platypus. Go. And people were just saying all kinds of things like, I said, okay, webbed feet. What else? So they were listing things. So we had burrow digging, webbed, all these different things, and created the verses for it. So I brought it together, and the next day, one day, Greg said, I'm leaving. Greg was my video producer as well. He says, I'm leaving on vacation at 3:00 today. So I got to take off a little bit early. Yeah, I know, but we got to get this shot. So we start filming, and we get through the song after several takes. I'm thinking as I'm going, I don't know what the video is going to look like. I really had no idea at all how to I just knew he was going to sing it, but it would be funny if I was also reacting to what he was saying. And because it just goes on and on, I need to have reactions in that song. So we just cut it different ways, and we put it together and threw it up on YouTube, and it went crazy. It went viral. We had people from all over the world that were liking it. And then some influencers got a hold of it and sent it out to their people and said, let's make this thing viral. And I got 10,000 views overnight. The second night it was up, and it just went from there. It went crazy. We just crossed 4 million, like you said, and we're going to do a big platypus party. We're going to give away platypus puppets.
Oh my gosh! No, that's one thing I was wondering, because obviously I saw that it had 4 million views. I wasn't sure, for some reason. I assumed that maybe it was something you posted a while ago and it just hit all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to hear that it just like blew up right away. I didn't expect that in the story. That's awesome.
Yeah, it did, and it hung on 3 million for a couple of years. So it's not like it's still exploding, but it did cross 4 million. Now you put up, somebody puts up something and explodes, and you might have 4 million in 1 week.
For sure.
And it's crazy. I don't know. I don't understand YouTube at all, but we're really appreciative of that. And it really helped to sell the platypus puppet. People were ordering it like crazy. Even people that weren't even performers wanted to get a piece of the platypus somehow. So we have the songs up on iTunes, and we've got it was on Dr. Demento's show. The song has been on disc jockey shows all over the world. People have really done a great job with it. Now, the big controversy is the ventriloquists of the world thought that I was trying to fake people out because I was lip syncing to it. And that, because a lot of my stuff I'll do ventriloquism in, and that I was not. And it's one of the most difficult songs to sing as a ventriloquist. So there was quite a controversy about that. Like, he's faking. He's totally faking. And it's like, I wasn't even.
Gosh.
I'm not. Hey, I'm trying to save my company here. I don't care about my lips.
Ooh, the ventriloquist drama.
So, I just wanted.
You were the talk at Benhaven, I'm sure.
So then it became exactly. It became a ventriloquist contest then, and all these ventriloquists from all over England and the United States were all then putting up their covers of it, doing it
Oh
as
my
a
gosh, that's
ventriloquist.
great.
That's
to
amazing.
share.
That's
Yeah,
free promotion,
super fun.
right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I love it. And it was covered by a lot of musicians, including um, Charlie Pluth.
Really?
Charlie Puth, who is a very big pop singer now, also YouTube sensation. He's a big pop star. So he actually covered it back in the day.
Am I crazy? I thought I heard something about, didn't Sesame Street want to do it or something?
Well, that was one of the phone calls that Lewis had into me, is that they were considering it for the letter P.
That's right.
And it was really exciting. It didn't end up happening, but I thought it was.
That would have been remarkable. Oh my gosh! Well, hopefully they still consider it, because that would be amazing. It is perfect. It is. Yeah. Wow. That's an amazing story about that whole thing. Did that help you guys a lot in that recession? I imagine. Yeah.
It saved us. I didn't have to lay anyone off. And it actually, because you monetize YouTube and you get income from that as well. So that helped a little bit curb the dent that was happening, and the platypus is still selling very well. It's one of our big sellers.
Well, that's one thing I love about everything we've talked about so far, because you're such an innovative person, talking about everything from the effects that you do to the AI characters that you're doing. And one of the biggest things that have helped and saved your company was just kind of recycling things that were around you. You said like the mold from the duck and this old gray fur, and then it just turned around, and oh my gosh, that's remarkable. What a great
tune
story.
you do in in your shower, and
that's great.
Video shot by wow.
It's exciting. When you're backed up to a wall, sometimes you do some your mind just does some amazing connections, and it's kind of cool, isn't it? Isn't it great being puppeteers and producers of our own shows? We get to be directors, producers, lighters, sculptors, creators.
Wow,
awesome.
that's so great, because so many people try to do stuff like that. Like, oh, let's try to make this go viral. Let's try to do this, that, and the other. And then, most of the time, that kind of stuff just happens when you don't expect it to, and when it happens on accident. So, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. Something I wanted to ask about, and if you don't want to address it, that's totally fine. But Adam's had the experience of selling some of his puppets, and sometimes a character that he sells does really well. That the performer who buys it, creates their own thing, their own video, and it's really, really cool. Other times you kind of cringe at what becomes of this thing that you worked really hard on. Do you have any experiences, either good or bad, of like sort of cringing or
I'm very good at cringing.
Or when you've had a character that you've sold that really is just one of the something from the warehouse, and it's like, oh my gosh, that I would have never imagined someone doing that, and that's incredible.
Oh yeah. Oh, people take my stuff and they'll costume it in different ways or put spins on it, do something with it that I never even dreamed that they would do with it. And it's really cool to see. Steve Petra is one of the ones that modifies my puppets in very cool ways. He's really a top name you want to get a hold of for your podcast. Steve Petra. He's out of New York, and man, but he'll take things, and then he's got videos and stuff that he puts together with the modifications that he's done on my puppets, and then sells those videos and stuff, and really helps other entertainers kind of figure out how to perform with things. That he does more teaching than I do, which is a wonderful thing to have as an adjunct professor.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But there's the cringe factors there all the time too, because we're doing a lot with beginners. And, it's so funny now, because I wouldn't have dreamed of putting my raw stuff up on YouTube or on TV when I was starting out, because that's the stuff you learn in your closet. But now it's everybody it's also raw and expected that you just put anything up. So it's not as like, you don't have to be polished now to just put something up. That's part of the fun of it, I guess. So, but when people are performing really bad and no clue of how they're not self-aware yet, I guess it's their way of learning, because they play it back on YouTube instead of just on their
Yeah.
video and their camera privately. They're putting it up to public, but they do get feedback then. And so that happens a lot of times in my forum, Axtell Entertainers on Facebook is one of the big forums that we have. It's a group, so you need to apply to get in. And they will put up a lot of stuff as a practice session, and that's not public, it's in the group. And so that's great. I mean, and people jump in and say, hey, your manipulation's good, but your eye contact's not good with the puppet. You're not looking at it when it's dying. When you're talking, it's just sitting there dead. So there's a lot of that kind of feedback going on. Really good stuff.
No, that's great, and that's super helpful for people to be able to learn. And so often people are doing it in their closet. That to have a group of people who know what they're doing and can give that feedback is really important.
Exactly, because when we started out, we didn't have such things. I didn't have such things as these Facebook groups or any kind of internet to work with, and the closest person around me that knew anything was maybe 4 cities away, and I never got to experience anybody that knew anything. And now with the internet, you've got teachers everywhere at your beck and call from all over the world. It's incredible. Great time to be doing this.
Now I'm curious too. So you shared that experience of you sort of imitating the Muppet style and getting that letter from the Henson Company saying, you got to do your own thing. I'm sure at this point there are people who have been influenced by the Steve Axtell design. Have you had any either proteges of people who've kind of come up or really been influenced by you that you've been able to guide and say, no, you can't do it the Axtell way. Go forge and create your own artistic voice.
Sure, that's happened many times, and everybody's really generous with their responses and appreciative of my feedback, and I'll mentor as many as I can. I get letters every week from kids that are starting out and emails that they want to either work for me or start their own company kind of thing someday. And I know the spirit of that little kid because that's what I was. And it's just so fun. So I'll answer their emails, answer their questions, and occasionally their parents will bring them here. We have people here from all over the world all the time, but when it's a kid, it's pretty special. You get to really spend some time influencing and inspiring them. And so I'll show them tricks of the trade and things. But there have been times too where adult big companies have blatantly ripped us off across the country, and we've had to give our lawyer their name and go after them and stop them, especially when they're out of the country. We can stop their stuff at customs coming in the door. But I've been ripped off probably about 12 different companies over the years. Our chimpanzee, our magic drawing board, Burn the Bird, a bunch of different things. And so that's just the nasty side of the business. And we've got so many friends all over the world that I'm told about it before I'll ever see it.
Oh, that's great.
Sure.
Somebody always emails me and says, hey, I know somebody's copying you.
Oh, geez.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, well, that's crazy. Yeah, that's a sad side of running a business because it's hard enough alone to run a business, let alone to be ripped off.
Exactly.
One question I have about your characters and your design and stuff, how does it work as far as the line of puppets that you have? Are people allowed to use those in if they do TV appearances, if they go on America's Got Talent? Is there any restrictions to stuff like that for your work?
We just have to clarify with them that we don't release our copyrights to the characters. Those are all sold as non-exclusive characters. So Axtell still owns the rights to them, but we give them free use of them on media. So they can perform on television or in their DVDs or on YouTube or anything with them free. They just need to list our copyright credit either on the show. If they can't do it on the show, then on their website. And that just stays to keep it legally ours. Yeah. So we just have to make sure they're marking it correctly. But other than that, it's free to use on media. And then we have exclusive puppets, which the transfer of copyrights goes to the owner of the character that whoever purchased the character. Like when I make the puppets for Terry Fator, he gets the copyrights to those, are exclusive. And we have a lot of things like that we do. And the one that we just sent to the French company that will be on television, that was an exclusive character as well. So they own the copyrights on those. The other thing that's interesting is on the non-exclusive ones that people buy, they'll eventually, if they hit it well and they're kind of famous, I've tried to counsel them, if they're going into television production, don't buy the non-exclusive ones. Spend the money on exclusive, because at some point you're going to want to own those characters, or the person that's funding your show is now going to want distributing your show or whatever. They're going to want to own those characters, and they won't be able to. So start with exclusive characters if you can. And a lot of times they can't do it. So they'll make a pilot with the non-exclusive puppets, and then they'll end up going into production with custom puppets. But they always say, but we want the custom puppets to look just like them.
Well, it's not custom then, right?
Nope.
Jeez.
Not going to happen. It's got to be, it can't infringe on my own
That's
puppets.
right.
So it's a little tricky. So we try to improve on the design and make it more interesting and things. But if they do stay with the non-exclusive puppets and produce a show with it, then they want to be able to make licensed characters out of them. So we'll do a licensing arrangement with them that's non-exclusive, and it's a fixed amount per year, and that they'll be able to then make dolls and coffee cups and T-shirts and all that stuff.
It's great that you have that kind of flexibility, because oh my gosh, how great is that? And even just letting people know it, like here, so then people who want to start a show, rather than start everything from scratch, they could just go to your catalog, buy stuff, communicate with you what their plans are, and be able to get going with something right away. That's amazing.
Yeah, and we've got over 100 characters to choose from on Axtell.com. /allpuppets.html. That link is amazing. You can see everything we make that's available online, non-exclusive, all in one page.
That's amazing. One more thing I want to ask you too is you're such a businessman and such an artist. Like, do you have any advice? And that's probably one of the hardest things, I think, is for an artist to be able to run the business aspect of their business. Do you have any advice for artists trying to run a business or create a business?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. That's right.
I mean, if you think about it, and consider it, then don't do it. That's what I'm saying. But what you do is you end up hiring a vice president to run the company, like Ryan, and you delegate a lot of the stuff to a bookkeeper. You have a customer service person like Teresa. You have an animatronics builder like Wes. You've got Jose and a production manager. You've got to delegate stuff. You can't possibly, be all things. And so that's probably my biggest asset, has been my team over the years. And me, I try to stick as much as I can to the creative ideas and the sculpture. Those are my two areas of that I can benefit the company most from. When I get bogged down in managing details, that's when I don't enjoy what I'm doing. They don't enjoy me doing it, and the whole thing is a misfit. I'm in the wrong seat on the bus. So when I get back to delegating correctly, and we get the with the ups and downs of business, I haven't always been able to delegate. Sometimes I've had to do things, myself, but you just have to go with it, roll with it. Are you guys are working as a team, right? On productions sometimes. I've seen you working together. And are you both builders as well?
I'm the main builder. Yeah, Cameron has built out of necessity before. Yeah. Great, absolutely great work, and I'm sure you're looking at all possibilities too, with your business going forward and stuff. So I just recommend, as you get a team, that you start with somebody that you can delegate to, that would help you run maybe the business side if you're not as business minded as you would like to be. There's a lot to learn on that side. So listen to a lot of podcasts. We have those as a huge advantage to us now. Business podcasts. Oh my gosh, they're so great. Yours and No, that's great advice, 'cause especially for an artist, and you don't want to lose being an artist. So if you can hire a team or hire people, even starting off slow, one piece of advice I've heard a lot of people say is, for an artist, one of the first people you could try to hire to do is someone just even to do scheduling for you and negotiating, almost like an agent type of thing, is a good way to start off if you can. Because you don't want to do anything that'll hopefully hinder your creative side, like you're saying.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially for a performer that's or an early builder that's getting great offers from big production companies. They'll just take you for as little as they can get. So it's nice to have a negotiator. Yeah, for sure in place. That's huge. And I haven't done as much performing as you guys have. The performing that I've done mostly professionally has been on television. So I've directed puppetry. I've worked on the PBS stuff that I've done, and then my own show, Axtell Television, which we started. You can see this on YouTube. We actually were doing this in 2000 and the year 2000, and I had DreamWorks, Disney, Family Channel, they were all considering it. And then 9/11 happened, 2001. And everybody stopped film production. It was crazy time. And because of that, the show, I produced an incredible pilot. It's on YouTube. You can see it. But it utilizes a lot of characters that were like this turtle is from Axtell Television. These two characters, Munch and Figgy, were from Axtell Television. This turtle, and then this set piece, which if you see the show, this is a house.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering. It looked like a set piece. Okay.
That's a set piece. This is what we would we would go into my studio here through this door. And it's one of those electrical gizmos, that gimmick things that sparkle when your hand goes on. And that's how you would open the door, the sound effects and stuff. But we won 11 awards, Parents Magazine, a lot of animation awards and stuff, because we did 3D animation in it as well as live puppetry. And we'd bring a group of kids into the studio, and we create a show. That was going to be the format of it. It was done in that old Bill Nye style, so all this stuff was real wacky and close-ups and fast cutting and all of that stuff. So you can see that on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll definitely make sure to link it up. But as we begin to wrap up, I know we've kind of danced around some things that have given you puppeteers, but we'd love to hear if you have a fun story that you want to share, something where something wasn't going right, either in the workshop or on set or anything like that made you want to pull your hair out, but now looking back, we could all kind of have a good laugh about it. Anything that gave you puppeteers.
Yeah.
The platypus story was the big one, but we have a lot of everything's wrapped in a story. Oh my goodness sakes. I got the chickens, for example. When we did the chickens, we had a lot of development to do, and so I had to figure out how we were going to run 100 chickens all together. And how we were going to keep them all synced, and that led us through a whole bunch of different companies, animatronics systems, and I had to learn those from scratch. So I was programming those myself, and I did all of the programming, chicken by chicken, movement by movement. So there was so much learning curve on that I hit the wall many times, as you can imagine. Many nights sitting here trying to program something and learning it on the fly, and getting it to try to hit a deadline where we would be able to meet their needs and get that chicken show all wrapped up and shipped to them so that they could open their grand opening on their given day. And so I had a whole bunch of stuff where
it wasn't working. It would fall apart. A wing would fall off. Oh, we got to make that armature stronger. And then all of a sudden to be programming and a head would fall off. And oh, we got to make the universal joint in the neck. We got to make that stronger now. So stop everything. We got to retrofit all of them. Just time after time of little things like that would happen on that very, very big project. And so the complexity of it was near overwhelming. But we pursued, our team stuck together on it, and we got it all programmed, got the lighting and the DMX all organized, upgraded all of the connections, the linkage, the servos, put thermostats on all the servos. And finally we're able to ship it. We missed a deadline. We had to hit another deadline. The staff that I was working with in Pigeon Forge and David Fee's group were extremely patient, and they understood this was all R&D that we were doing. So it was a wonderful thing that we were able to push through and achieve. And now it's still running. They've sold the company to the Dollywood Group, and it's still running and doing very well. And it's a real treat to know that I could go there anytime and have a pancake and listen to my chicken.
That's great. Yeah.
All 100 of them.
The last thing you need is a chicken bursting into flames when you're trying to enjoy your breakfast. So
It'd be entertaining, though.
No, that's not. Then it's fried chicken, and
That's
it's
right.
not.
All right.
It's a different menu.
All right. Well, so what's the best way for people to follow your work and get their own Axtell puppet?
Oh, thank you. Axtell.com, AXTELL, 2 L's.com. Just go there. You'll see all of our puppets. You'll have links to our animatronics. You can see all of our videos. We've got a learning center there that teaches you puppet manipulation and teaches you how we make our puppets and a whole bunch of different things, how to do ventriloquism for free. There's great links on the learning center. Great resource. So Axtell.com.
Awesome. Perfect.
That'll do
All
it.
right.
great.
Well, thanks so much, Steve. It's been great talking to you, and hopefully we'll have you back on in the
Thank you, guys.
future to share another cool, awesome project with us.
And come visit, please.
Oh, I will definitely
to
be
invite
coming to visit as well. All right. Thanks a lot,
Great.
Steve.
Thank you, guys.